Once there lived a boy in the town. One day, he came to visit his grandfather during his summer holidays. He used to play with his grandfather all the time. One day, he said to his father, "When I grow up, I want to become a successful person. Can you tell me some ways to be successful?" Grandfather nodded in yes and took a boy with him in a nearby nursery. From nursery, his grandfather bought the two small plants and came back home. Then he planted a plant in the pot and kept it inside the house and planted other plant outside the house. "What do you think which of one of these two plants will grow better in future?" Grandpa asked the boy. Boy kept thinking for some time and then said, "Plant inside the house will grow better because it is safe from every danger, while plant outside at a risk of many things, like a strong sunlight, rain, animals, and storms." Then, Grandfather smiled and said, "Let's see what happens in future." After this boy left from there. After 4 years, boy came to visit his grandfather again. When he saw his grandfather, he said that, "Grandpa, last time I asked you a question, how to be successful in life, but you didn't tell me anything that time. But now you have to tell me." Grandfather smiled and said, "Sure, but first, let's take a look at the plants that we bought few years back." Saying this, Grandfather took boy at the place where he had planted small plant in a pot. They saw that the small plant had turned into a big plant. Then he took boy to look at the plant which they have planted outside. They saw that a big tree has grown out of a pot. Its branches spread far and wide, providing shade to passerby. Now Grandfather looked at a boy and asked, "Tell me, which plant grew better? Which is more successful?" The boy replied, "The one we planted outside. But Grandfather, how is it possible? That plant must have faced so many dangers. Still, it grew so big." Grandfather smiled and said, "Yes. Plant outside had to face many things, but dealing with the problems had its benefits too. Plant outside the house had freedom to spread its roots as much as it wanted. Problems like storm, rain, had made its roots even much stronger. Today, it is so strong that a small storm cannot cause any harm to it. While the plant we planted inside the house remained small, and it is weak too, because it didn't withstand any heavy rain, storm, and strong sunlight." Then, Grandfather looked at boy and said, "My son, always remember that unless you go through difficulties, unless you struggle, you will not able to get success in your life. If you make a comfortable choices, you will not able to grow as you can. And if you are ready to struggle in your life and go through difficulties, then no goal is impossible to achieve. Therefore, never think of problems as a hurdles, but think of them as stepping stones towards success." Boy took a long breath and stared looking at tree. The words of his grandfather were echoing in his mind, obstacles which we considered as enemies in our life. The same obstacles make us stronger and more successful in our life. So, if we see in our life, then we will find it. Often in our life we have to face so many challenges and problems, due to which many times we get disappointed and discouraged to move forward. But story of these two plant teaches us not to be intimidated by the challenges, but to embrace them as opportunity to learn and grow. Like a plant that grew outside the house, had to face so many problems and natural calamities, but with this, it had freedom to spread its roots and grow stronger. And thus, it transformed into a strong and giant tree. But plant that was planted inside was saved from nature calamities, but it remained small and weak. From this, we get to learn this more difficulties and challenges in our life the more path of the success will open for us. It teaches us we should not be afraid to take risk and step outside out comfort zones and never give up. Work harder and harder for your dreams. Then definitely you will be successful person soon.